He could be doing the show in his bathrobe and shower cap, and you'd never know it. You're listening to the KICK Morning Show with Steve Largent, 92.3 KICK.
Not today. Got guests in the studio and want them to come back, so we try and hold that for days when there's nobody in the studio. Had Jan Fisk on, Mayor Pro Tem Jan Fisk, yesterday, and we were joking off the air because of the parking lot situation. I said, why don't you just stay home and phone it in? She said, that'd be fine. So the joke when she calls is, yeah, I'm just sitting here in my PJs drinking my coffee, so no worries, no problem.
We are both dressed for work.
Jeff Phillips is here, Laborers Local 663, talking about Proposition A. Had a appreciate the phone call from the thought-provoking conservative as we hit the top of the hour, but got to play ABC News and that kind of thing, so that conversation had to come to a close. But anybody else out there listening, you'd like to join the conversation, you agree, disagree, let your voice be heard this morning. 417-447-1777. This seems to be a very political hot button, and you've explained it very well. I understand more than I did before we started this conversation last week and today. But if so many states have become right-to-work states, it has to be a political thing for there to be so many that are right-to-work states and so few that are not right-to-work states.
Yep, it is. You know, this is not the first time. It's not like all of a sudden somebody decided, in Missouri anyway, that somebody has decided, hey, let's try to be a right-to-work state. I mean, I was a sophomore in high school in 1978 when the right-to-work issue was placed before Missouri voters, and it failed with about 60% voting against it. So this has come up before. The difference, honestly, in one issues between now and then is that in 1978, Missouri had a Democratic governor and also a Democratic majority in the General Assembly. And as of last year, Missouri has a Republican governor and a Republican majority in the General Assembly. But again, this is not. You know, we don't look at this as being a Republican issue, a Democratic issue, even a union issue, although it does involve the payment of union dues. This is an issue about making sure people have the best opportunity to succeed and make a good living for their family. And you say, wow, 28 states have right-to-work laws on the books. Missouri, everybody else is doing it, why shouldn't we? Well, you know, there's no need to race to the bottom. As we pointed out in the last hour, our neighboring states, laborers, just use kind of apples to apples comparison. Since I work for a laborers union, laborers in Missouri are paid a great deal more, plus benefits. And union jobs kind of set the pace because typically union jobs pay better. So if you want to compete, if you're a business and you want to compete in a field that requires skilled labor, you will probably have to follow suit. But just kind of these are not things that we've just kind of pulled out of the air. These are statistics from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, from any number of different sources, hard data. In right-to-work states, on average, they spend about $3,300 less per student than non-right-to-work states. Poverty levels typically are higher in right-to-work states than in non-right-to-work states. And I think we can point to that specifically with our neighbors in Arkansas compared to Missouri.
Okay, so help me connect those dots. And I what I desperately want on this show and insist on this show is I don't want opinion necessarily. I want facts. So help me connect the dots. Why does right to work affect those two categories and the other categories in the stats that you're about to give?
Well,
I mean, that's a stupid obvious question, but
where do states typically generate most of their revenue?
Taxes,
income taxes. Okay. If you are paid less money, if you are earning less money,
got it,
you're going to pay fewer taxes. And your state, as a result, will have less money to spend on all those important services.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're making less money, you're teetering closer to that poverty line. And so, the fact of the matter is, like we talked about, Kansas, $11 an hour. That's not much above minimum wage, and that's not really a family wage.
Yeah.
That's hard to support a family on $11 an hour.
Next to impossible. Yep.
And so it's,
I didn't mean to throw you off the trail. Just
sure.
Other stats,
but that's
anything else?
Another thing, too, that is particularly crucial is safety. I can tell you that with our guys, our women who are union laborers, big part of what we do is training, not only on how to do the job, but how to do the job safely. Mm-hmm. You have to, before you can go out on any job as a union laborer, you have to have OSHA safety training. I mean, I'm not a laborer. I don't go out and pour concrete and do the hard work that our laborers do. I have an OSHA 10 card. I took the safety training because to me it was important, because I will be visiting sites, mm-hmm. job sites. It's important to have that training. We provide that training. We provide skills training. We provide safety training, and 58%. You have a 58% higher death rate in non-right to work states that you do in right to work states have a higher rate of death on the job than do states like Missouri. Now, we had a tragedy in St. Louis a couple of days ago, mm-hmm. and it's you can't say specifically that it was related to this, but I believe it appears that the two people who died were working for a contractor who was not a union contractor. Our labor organization had complained to OSHA, had complained to the state, and said, these conditions aren't good. And unfortunately, a couple of people died.
So let me ask you this. And again, there's probably a painfully obvious answer to this that I haven't figured out yet. If labor unions are that good, wages are that good in Missouri, benefits are on top of the wages, you're only paying $32 worth of dues to get the benefits, you're drug free, you bring so much to the table to the employer, why don't more companies, more organizations or types of business, groups of business, rather than construction, who does a lot of union, why don't more people become unionized? There's got to be an obvious answer that I'm just not seeing.
Well,
if it's so great, why didn't everybody jump on? Why don't we just all become? Why don't radio stations become unions or represented by unions?
Some of them are. St. Louis and Kansas City probably. Why? Probably simply because our people are paid more. And some employers don't want
benefits.
Some employers don't want to pay those higher wages. It's just kind of a simple thing. If you don't have to, you're not going to do it.
Jeff Phillips is our guest, Laborers Local 663. We got one more segment with him coming up. If you've got questions, comments, opinions, join the conversation. 417-447-1777.